Abandoned and cold, Martha stood in the forest with her 2 sons and other widows, the snow swirling around them. The wagon train moved on, leaving her and the other widows behind. No shelter. No guidance. Just the biting wind and the vast wilderness. She felt despair creeping in, ready to succumb to the icy grip of winter. But then, through the trees, 3 Lakota warriors appeared, determined, attentive, and observing her plight. She feared the worst. But destiny had other plans. Before we begin, share where you're watching from and subscribe if you believe that destiny often brings unexpected allies. Martha, Abigail, and Clara stood together, their eyes following the fading shapes of the wagons. The cold wind bit at their faces, and the snow beneath their feet seemed to echo the emptiness in their hearts. Mr. Jennings, the leader of the wagon train, had made his decision quickly. The 3 women, each with children to care for, were left behind. They had become a burden, slowing the group's progress. Winter was closing in, and the harsh reality was that they had to fend for themselves. Martha was the oldest among them. She had a strong face, marked by years of hardship but also wisdom. Her husband had died last spring, leaving her with 2 young boys. Abigail was a bit younger, her eyes sharp with intelligence and a determination that seemed unshakable. She had 3 children, each one looking to her for guidance. Clara was the youngest, still in her 20s, with a baby girl cradled in her arms. Her husband had passed away during the journey, leaving her alone and frightened. The women watched in silence as the last wagon disappeared into the forest, the sound of the wheels crunching on the snow fading into nothing. They had been given a few supplies, some dried meat, a small sack of potatoes, and a blanket each. It was not much, but it was all they had. The forest around them was vast and silent, a world of white and gray stretching as far as they could see. Martha turned to the others, her voice steady despite the fear she felt. They had to act quickly. The first thing was shelter. Without it, the cold would be their end. They had passed a group of large trees not far back, their branches thick and interwoven. It would provide some cover from the snow and wind. They could build a lean-to there, using fallen branches and the blankets they had. Abigail nodded, already moving toward the trees. Her children followed closely, their small faces pinched with cold. Clara hesitated, her eyes on her baby, who was wrapped tightly against the chill. But she knew she had no choice. Her child's survival depended on her strength now. The 3 women worked together, gathering wood and branches. Martha directed them, her experience showing as she crafted the framework of their shelter. Abigail searched for pine boughs to line the ground, creating a barrier against the snow. Clara, despite her fatigue, helped as best she could, her baby secured snugly against her chest. As daylight began to fade, they completed the shelter. It was small and cramped, but it would hold them through the night. Inside, they spread out the blankets and huddled together, sharing what warmth they could. The children were silent, their eyes wide in the dim light. Martha divided the food, careful to make it last. They ate sparingly, each bite a reminder of their uncertain future. Night fell quickly, bringing with it an intense cold. The wind howled through the trees, a constant reminder of the harsh world outside their fragile shelter. Clara's baby cried softly, and she rocked the child gently, whispering words of comfort. Martha and Abigail exchanged a look, each understanding the weight of their situation. The night seemed endless. Sleep came in brief, uneasy bursts, interrupted by the cold and the worry that gnawed at each of them. They took turns keeping watch, listening to the sounds of the forest. The cry of a distant wolf sent shivers down their spines, a reminder that they were not alone in the wilderness. With the first light of dawn, they emerged from the shelter. The world outside was transformed, the snow glistening under the weak winter sun. Their breath hung in the air, and the cold seeped through their clothes, biting at their skin. There was no time to lose. They needed a plan. Martha gathered the women and children around her. Their supplies would not last long, and they had to find more food. Abigail suggested setting traps for small game. She had some knowledge of such things, having learned from her father long ago. Martha agreed, her mind working through their options. They could also try to find a nearby stream, hoping it hadn't frozen completely. Fish would be a good source of food if they were lucky enough to catch any. Clara listened, her arms wrapped tightly around her baby. She felt a sense of helplessness but also a fierce determination. She would do whatever it took to keep her child alive. Abigail's children were older, able to help with gathering wood and keeping the fire going. They were resourceful, having learned quickly from their mother. The group set out, Abigail leading the way. She explained how to set the traps, showing the children how to find tracks in the snow. It was slow going, the cold sapping their energy. But they worked steadily, each task a small victory in their fight for survival. By afternoon, they returned to their shelter, exhausted but with a few small victories. Abigail had caught a rabbit, its body a welcome sight. They prepared it over the fire, the smell of cooking meat lifting their spirits. It was a simple meal, but it gave them strength. As the days passed, they fell into a routine. Each morning, they checked the traps, gathered wood, and searched for any sign of a stream. Their lives centered around survival, each day a challenge. The forest, once a place of fear, became their ally. They learned its rhythms, its secrets. Martha found strength in the work, her sons following her example. Abigail's knowledge proved invaluable, her skills with herbs and plants a lifeline for the group. Clara, though still unsure, grew more confident. Her baby, despite the odds, seemed to thrive, the cold air bringing a healthy flush to her cheeks. But even as they adapted, the weight of their situation never left them. Each night, as they huddled together, the reality of their abandonment hung heavy in the air. They spoke little of the past, focusing instead on what lay ahead. The children's laughter, a rare but treasured sound, reminded them of what they fought for. And so they endured. The days turned into weeks, the snow deepening around them. The forest, with its silent strength, became their home. The women, once strangers, became a family bound by necessity and hope. They faced the winter together, their spirits unbroken, determined to survive. The days dragged on, each one a test of endurance and will. The women and children settled into a harsh routine, their lives centered around survival. The cold was relentless, biting at their fingers and toes, numbing their faces. Yet they pushed forward, knowing that giving up was not an option. Martha took charge, her experience guiding their efforts. She was a source of strength for the others, her calm demeanor reassuring them in the face of adversity. Each morning, she organized their tasks, ensuring that every moment was spent wisely. The forest was both friend and foe, offering resources but also threats. Abigail, with her sharp mind and practical skills, was invaluable. She set traps for small animals, teaching the older children how to help. Her knowledge of herbs and plants became crucial as the days grew colder. She found roots and berries, small but essential additions to their meager diet. Clara, though new to such hardships, found her own strength. Her love for her baby girl drove her, a constant reminder of what was at stake. She gathered wood and helped with cooking, her hands red and raw from the cold. The baby was bundled tightly, her small face peeking out from layers of cloth. The shelter became their haven, a small space of warmth amidst the freezing world outside. They huddled together at night, sharing body heat and stories. The children listened with wide eyes as Martha told tales of her past, stories of warmth and laughter from a time that seemed so distant now. Food was always a concern. The rabbit Abigail had caught was gone quickly, and they needed to find more. The traps yielded some success, but it was never enough. Hunger gnawed at them, a constant presence that could not be ignored. Martha and Abigail discussed their options. They needed to find a more reliable source of food. The idea of a stream with fish was appealing, but so far they hadn't found one. Abigail suggested they explore further, risking a journey deeper into the forest. Martha was hesitant, aware of the dangers, but she knew they had little choice. The next morning, they set out, leaving the children with Clara. The women moved carefully, aware of every sound and movement. The forest was a maze of trees and snow, each step a challenge. They searched for signs of water, a glimmer of hope in the vast wilderness. Their perseverance paid off. After hours of searching, they stumbled upon a small stream, its surface partially frozen but still flowing beneath. It was a lifeline, a chance to provide more sustenance for their group. Abigail showed Martha how to use branches to create a simple fishing trap, hoping to catch something, anything, to bring back. Returning to the shelter, they shared the news with Clara, their spirits lifted by the find. The stream offered hope, a chance to supplement their dwindling supplies. Over the next days, they visited often, checking the traps, their efforts rewarded with the occasional fish. Despite these small victories, the cold remained a constant enemy. Clara worried about her baby, the child's cries often breaking the silence of the night. Abigail's children were resilient, but even they felt the strain. The youngest often woke from nightmares, the fear of the unknown heavy in their small hearts. Martha watched over them all, her resolve unyielding. She knew the importance of keeping morale high, the need to stay strong for the sake of the children. She found ways to distract them, teaching them simple games and songs. Each smile was a victory, a reminder of what they fought for. Time seemed to stretch endlessly, the days blending into nights. Their world was reduced to the small circle of their shelter and the surrounding forest. They spoke often of the future, of what lay beyond the winter. Dreams of spring and warmth, of green fields and clear skies, filled their conversations, giving them something to hold on to. Yet, the reality of their situation was never far. Illness was a constant threat, the cold seeping into their bones. Abigail's skills with herbs helped, but there was only so much she could do. Clara's baby developed a cough, a worrying sign that kept the young mother awake at night. One evening, as they sat around their small fire, Martha noticed Clara's distress. She took the young woman aside, speaking softly, her words a balm against the fear. Clara listened, her eyes on her child. She knew she had to be strong, that her baby depended on her more than ever. Abigail joined them, offering what herbs she had. Together, they worked to ease the child's discomfort, their combined efforts a testament to the bond they had formed. The baby's cries lessened, the warmth and care soothing her to sleep. Through it all, the women supported each other, their friendship forged in the crucible of necessity. They learned to rely on one another, to trust in their shared strength. Each challenge they faced brought them closer, their unity a source of comfort and hope. As the days continued, they marked each small victory. A successful hunt, a warm fire, a shared meal. These moments were precious, reminders of their resilience and determination. The forest, with its silent majesty, became familiar, its once daunting presence softened by their growing knowledge and skill. In this harsh world, they found a kind of peace, a rhythm to their days that allowed them to endure. The children, despite the odds, adapted to their new life, their laughter a bright note in the winter air. Martha, Abigail, and Clara, once strangers, now stood as a family united by the trials they faced together. Winter was far from over, its challenges ever present. But the women faced each day with courage, their eyes set on the future. They knew the path ahead would not be easy, but they were ready to meet it, their spirits unbroken, their hope unwavering. Together, they would survive, each step forward a testament to their strength and resolve. The days turned into weeks, and the winter tightened its grip on the land. Snow piled high around the women's shelter, and the forest stood silent and still. The cold was ever present, a constant challenge that tested their strength and resolve. Inside their small haven, Martha, Abigail, and Clara focused on survival, each day a battle against hunger and chill. Their routine had become familiar, almost comforting in its predictability. In the mornings, they checked the traps Abigail had set, hoping for a rabbit or bird. They gathered wood and kept the fire burning, its warmth a precious commodity. The stream, their lifeline, provided the occasional fish, a welcome addition to their diet. Despite their efforts, the weight of their isolation bore heavily on them. The children, while resilient, began to feel the strain. Their energy waned and their laughter grew quieter. Clara worried constantly about her baby, who had grown thinner despite her best efforts. It was during one of these somber days that Martha noticed something unusual. As she stepped out into the cold morning air, she spotted a thin column of smoke in the distance. It rose steadily into the sky, a faint but unmistakable sign of life. Her heart quickened at the sight. Smoke meant fire, and fire meant people. She called Abigail and Clara over, pointing to the distant signal. Hope flickered within them, a small but persistent light. Abigail, with her knowledge of the land, suggested that the smoke might be from a Lakota camp. She had heard stories of their presence in the area, tribes that moved with the seasons, living off the land. The idea was both exciting and frightening. They knew little about the Lakota, and the risk of approaching them was real. But the promise of help, of perhaps finding a way to survive the harsh winter, was too tempting to ignore. They weighed their options, considering the dangers and the needs of their children. In the end, it was the thought of their little ones that convinced them to take the risk. The next morning, they prepared to leave. They packed what little food they had, wrapped the children warmly, and set off toward the smoke. The journey was fraught with uncertainty, each step taking them deeper into the unknown. The forest seemed to close in around them, its silence broken only by the crunch of their footsteps in the snow. The children huddled close to their mothers, sensing the tension but trusting in their care. Clara held her baby tightly, her heart a mix of fear and hope. As they moved, Martha and Abigail kept their eyes sharp, watching for signs of danger. The forest was home to many creatures, some more threatening than others. They had heard wolves howling at night, their cries echoing through the trees. The thought of encountering them now was terrifying. Hours passed, and the journey took its toll. The children grew tired, their small legs struggling through the deep snow. Martha and Abigail took turns carrying them, their own strength stretched thin. The smoke, once a distant promise, seemed to draw no closer. Just when despair threatened to overtake them, they heard a sound that made them stop. It was faint at first, a rustling in the trees that grew louder, more urgent. They froze, their instincts alert to the possibility of danger. Then, from the shadows of the forest, a pack of wolves emerged. Their eyes glinted in the fading light, their presence both majestic and menacing. The women held their breath, fear clutching at their hearts. The wolves watched them, their intentions unclear. Martha stood firm, her voice steady as she instructed the others to remain calm. She knew that panic would only provoke the animals. They stayed close, forming a protective circle around the children. But before the situation could escalate, another sound broke the tension. It was the unmistakable call of a human voice, sharp and commanding. From behind the trees, 3 figures appeared. They were Lakota warriors, their presence both unexpected and welcome. The wolves hesitated, then retreated, disappearing back into the forest. The women exhaled, relief flooding through them. The warriors approached cautiously, their expressions curious but not unkind. Martha stepped forward, her hands open in a gesture of peace. Communication was difficult, their languages unfamiliar to one another. But through gestures and simple words they managed to convey their plight. The warriors listened, their eyes taking in the women and children. There was a moment of silence, a pause where the strangers assessed one another. Then one of the warriors nodded, a silent agreement to help. They led the women and children toward the source of the smoke, guiding them through the forest with practiced ease. The journey, though still challenging, felt lighter with the warriors' presence. The children, sensing the change, grew more at ease, their small faces relaxing as they walked. As they neared the Lakota camp, the smell of wood smoke grew stronger, mingling with the scent of cooking food. The camp was a collection of teepees, each one sturdy and inviting against the snowy backdrop. The warmth and life within the camp were a stark contrast to the cold, silent forest they had left behind. The women were greeted with a mix of curiosity and caution. The Lakota people watched them closely, their expressions a blend of skepticism and interest. Martha, Abigail, and Clara felt the weight of their gaze but stood tall, aware of the significance of this moment. An elder, whom the warriors called Wakasa, approached them. His presence was calm, his eyes wise and knowing. He spoke with the warriors, then turned his attention to the women. Through gestures and the few shared words they understood, he welcomed them to the camp, offering food and shelter. The relief was immense, a wave of gratitude that filled their hearts. They were safe, at least for now. The Lakota camp offered them a refuge from the winter's cruelty, a chance to rest and recover. As they settled into the camp, the women felt the tension ease from their bodies. They were among strangers, yet the kindness shown to them was a balm against the fear and hardship they had faced. The path ahead was still uncertain, but for the first time in weeks, they dared to hope. Together, they would face whatever came next, their spirits lifted by the promise of new beginnings and the strength of newfound allies. The Lakota camp was a new world for Martha, Abigail, and Clara. As they settled in, the women watched the daily life around them. The camp was alive with activity, filled with sounds and smells that were both strange and inviting. The people moved with purpose, their tasks a seamless part of their existence. The women felt a mix of relief and uncertainty. They were grateful for the shelter and food, but they were also aware of their position as outsiders. The Lakota people observed them with interest, some with open curiosity, others with reserved caution. It was clear that trust would take time to build. Martha, always the leader, took it upon herself to show respect and gratitude. She approached Wakasa, the elder, using gestures to express their thanks. Her sincerity was evident, and Wakasa acknowledged her with a nod, his eyes showing a hint of understanding. Abigail, with her practical mind, sought ways to contribute. She noticed that the Lakota had their own methods of healing, using herbs and plants much like she did. She approached the healers, offering her knowledge in exchange for learning theirs. They communicated through gestures and shared observations, a silent dialogue that bridged their differences. Clara, with her baby in her arms, found comfort in the company of the Lakota women. They showed her how to carry her child in a soft wrap, a method that allowed her to keep working while keeping the baby close. The women shared simple words and smiles, their warmth easing Clara's fears. The children adapted quickly, their natural curiosity helping them blend in. Abigail's children were welcomed by the other young ones, their games and laughter a universal language. Clara's baby, a source of delight, was often surrounded by doting adults. As the days passed, the women began to feel more at ease. The Lakota camp, once so foreign, became a place of learning and growth. They observed the community's rhythms, the way tasks were shared, and the respect shown to elders and nature. One day, as Martha and Abigail were gathering wood, they heard a rustling in the trees. They paused, their senses alert. From the shadows, a pack of wolves emerged, their eyes fixed on the women. The wolves were curious but cautious, their presence both majestic and menacing. Martha and Abigail stood still, their hearts pounding. They knew not to run, aware that fear would only provoke the animals. They held their ground, hoping the wolves would lose interest and leave. Just as tension peaked, the Lakota warriors appeared, led by Chayton, one of the men who had first found them. His voice was calm but firm, a command that the wolves seemed to understand. The animals hesitated, then retreated back into the forest. The women exhaled, relief flooding through them. Chayton approached, his expression amused but respectful. Through gestures, he reassured them, his presence a reminder of the camp's protection. As the sun set, Martha reflected on the day's events. She realized that their survival depended not only on their own efforts but also on the bonds they formed with the Lakota. Trust, she understood, was a two-way street. The following morning, the women were invited to a gathering. The camp came alive with music and dance, a celebration of life and community. The Lakota people moved with grace and joy, their spirits lifted by the shared experience. Martha, Abigail, and Clara watched with awe, their hearts touched by the beauty of the moment. They were invited to join, their initial hesitance giving way to laughter and participation. The children danced freely, their joy infectious. In these moments, the barriers between them began to dissolve. The Lakota people welcomed the women into their circle, their actions speaking louder than words. Martha felt a sense of belonging, a feeling she hadn't experienced since leaving home. Chayton, who had shown kindness to Martha, joined her in the dance. They moved together, their steps guided by the rhythm of the drums. In his presence, Martha found a friend, someone who understood the challenges they faced. Abigail, too, found connections. Noden, another warrior, took an interest in her son, teaching him skills that were both practical and empowering. The boy, eager to learn, followed Noden with admiration, his confidence growing with each lesson. Clara, though quieter, found her own place. The Lakota women embraced her as one of their own, their acceptance a balm to her weary heart. Her baby, thriving in the warmth of the community, was a constant reminder of hope. As winter continued, the women and the Lakota grew closer. They shared stories by the fire, their laughter a testament to the bonds they were building. The women learned new skills, adapting to the ways of the camp. In turn, they shared their knowledge, their efforts appreciated and valued. The initial skepticism of some Lakota members softened over time. Martha's leadership, Abigail's skills, and Clara's gentle nature won them respect. The women were no longer seen as strangers but as part of the community. Yet challenges remained. The threat of a neighboring tribe loomed, a reminder that peace was fragile. The camp stayed vigilant, aware that danger could strike at any moment. The women felt the tension, understanding that their safety was intertwined with the fate of the Lakota. One evening, as they gathered around the fire, Wakasa spoke to the group. Though his words were unfamiliar, his meaning was clear. He spoke of unity, of strength in numbers. The women listened, their resolve strengthened by his wisdom. They knew that the road ahead was uncertain, but they also knew they were not alone. Together, with their new friends and allies, they would face whatever challenges came their way. The journey was far from over, but for the first time, they faced it with hope and courage. In the quiet moments, as the camp settled for the night, the women reflected on how far they had come. They had found a home, a place where they were valued and supported. The bonds they had formed were strong, rooted in mutual respect and shared goals. As the stars appeared in the night sky, Martha, Abigail, and Clara felt a sense of peace. They had found a family among the Lakota, a community that embraced them despite their differences. Together, they looked to the future, ready to build a life filled with promise and possibility. Life in the Lakota camp settled into a steady rhythm for Martha, Abigail, and Clara. The initial uncertainty of their arrival had given way to a sense of belonging and purpose. Each day brought new tasks and challenges, but also the comfort of community and shared experiences. The women had become part of the camp, their presence accepted and even welcomed. Martha continued to show respect and gratitude, her actions strengthening the trust between them and the Lakota. She worked hard, pitching in wherever needed, and her leadership skills were acknowledged by Wakasa and the others. She learned the ways of the Lakota, adapting to their customs and traditions with humility and eagerness. Abigail had found her place among the healers. Her knowledge of herbs and plants was valued, and she learned much from the Lakota women who shared their wisdom with her. Together, they worked to keep the camp healthy, their combined efforts a testament to the strength of collaboration. Clara's bond with the Lakota women grew stronger each day. They taught her how to weave and sew, skills that not only contributed to the community but also gave Clara a sense of accomplishment. Her baby was thriving, surrounded by love and care, and Clara herself grew more confident and assured. The children, too, flourished in this new environment. They played with the Lakota children, their laughter a constant presence in the camp. They learned the language and customs, their young minds absorbing everything with ease. Abigail's son, under Noden's guidance, became adept at hunting and tracking, skills that filled him with pride. As the women settled into their new lives, an unexpected friendship blossomed between Martha and Chayton. He was a man of few words but had a calm presence that Martha found reassuring. They spent time together, sharing stories and laughter, their connection deepening with each encounter. Chayton respected Martha's strength and resilience, qualities that had helped her survive the harsh winter and integrate into the camp. He admired her ability to adapt and her willingness to learn. Martha, in turn, appreciated Chayton's kindness and the safety he provided. In him, she found a partner who understood the journey she had taken. Abigail, too, found connections that went beyond friendship. Her interactions with Noden had grown more frequent, their shared interests and mutual respect forming a strong bond. Noden admired Abigail's intelligence and skills, her ability to heal, and her dedication to her family. Abigail, though cautious, felt a warmth towards Noden that hinted at something deeper. Despite these personal connections, the camp faced challenges. Not everyone welcomed the widows with open arms. Some members of the community remained skeptical, wary of the outsiders in their midst. Martha, Abigail, and Clara understood this caution and worked hard to prove their worth, knowing that acceptance could not be rushed. The threat of a neighboring tribe also loomed over the camp, a constant reminder of the fragility of peace. The warriors stayed vigilant, their eyes always watching for signs of danger. The women felt this tension, aware that their safety was tied to the security of the entire camp. One evening, as they gathered around the communal fire, Wakasa addressed the camp. His words were measured and calm, but the seriousness of his tone was unmistakable. He spoke of unity, of the need for everyone to stand together in the face of external threats. The camp listened, their attention focused on the elder who had guided them through many trials. Martha felt the weight of his words, understanding the importance of solidarity. She knew that their survival depended not just on individual strength but on the strength of the community as a whole. She shared this understanding with Abigail and Clara, their resolve to support the camp unwavering. As winter continued, small gestures began to bridge the gaps between the women and those who were still hesitant to accept them. Martha's leadership, often demonstrated in quiet, effective ways, won over some of the skeptics. Her ability to listen and her willingness to learn softened the initial resistance. Abigail's healing skills also played a crucial role in building trust. When illness swept through the camp, she worked tirelessly alongside the Lakota healers to care for the sick. Her efforts did not go unnoticed, and the respect she earned was genuine and heartfelt. Clara, with her gentle nature, won the hearts of many. Her kindness and willingness to help with any task, no matter how small, endeared her to the community. Her baby, a symbol of hope and new beginnings, was cherished by all. The women found strength in their friendships, both old and new. They supported each other, their bond unbreakable. Together, they faced each challenge with determination and courage, their spirits lifted by the knowledge that they were not alone. As the days grew longer and winter began to loosen its grip, the camp prepared for the change of seasons. The promise of spring brought hope, a reminder that life continued despite the hardships they had faced. The women looked forward to the future, their hearts filled with gratitude for the home they had found among the Lakota. Martha, Abigail, and Clara knew that the journey was far from over. There would be more challenges, more tests of their strength and resilience. But they faced the future with confidence, their eyes set on the horizon, ready to embrace whatever came next. Together with their new family, they would continue to build a life of love and purpose, their hearts united in hope and determination. The bonds they had formed, rooted in respect and shared experiences, would guide them through the seasons to come, their spirits strong and unyielding. As the snow began to melt and the first signs of spring appeared, life in the Lakota camp shifted. The air was still cold, but the promise of warmer days brought a sense of renewal and hope. The ground, once covered with deep snow, started to reveal patches of earth. The camp buzzed with activity as everyone prepared for the change of seasons. Martha, Abigail, and Clara had settled into their roles within the community. Each woman had found her place, contributing in ways that were both meaningful and appreciated. The transition from winter to spring was a busy time, filled with tasks that required cooperation and dedication. Abigail had become an integral part of the healing group. Her knowledge of herbal medicine had expanded under the guidance of the Lakota healers. She worked alongside them, learning new techniques and sharing her own insights. Her skills were valued, and she felt a deep sense of fulfillment in helping those around her. One morning, as Abigail sorted through her collection of herbs, she noticed a young Lakota girl watching her closely. The girl's eyes were full of curiosity and admiration. Abigail smiled, inviting the girl to join her. With patience and care, she began to teach the girl about the different plants and their uses. The girl listened intently, her eagerness to learn reminding Abigail of her own children. Meanwhile, Clara had become skilled in weaving and sewing, tasks that were essential as the camp prepared for spring. The Lakota women had taught her well, and Clara found joy in creating garments and blankets. Her hands moved deftly, each stitch a testament to her growing confidence. Clara's baby, now a little older, was a constant source of joy for the camp. The child's laughter and playful nature brought smiles to everyone's faces. Clara's heart swelled with pride as she watched her baby thrive in the warmth of the community's love. Martha, ever the leader, had taken on the role of storyteller. In the evenings, she would gather the children around the fire, sharing tales from her past. Her stories were rich with lessons and humor, captivating her young audience. The children listened with wide eyes, their imaginations sparked by her words. The Lakota elders appreciated Martha's stories, recognizing the wisdom and experience she shared. They saw the value in passing down knowledge through storytelling, a tradition that resonated with their own culture. Martha's role as a storyteller helped bridge the gap between the women and the Lakota, fostering a deeper understanding and respect. As spring progressed, the camp came alive with preparations for planting. The community worked together, breaking the ground and sowing seeds. There was a sense of unity and purpose, each person contributing to the shared goal of growth and sustenance. Martha, Abigail, and Clara joined in, their hands working alongside the Lakota. The physical labor was demanding, but the promise of new life was invigorating. They felt the earth beneath their fingers, the soil rich with potential. It was a reminder of the cycle of life, of renewal and hope. Chayton often worked near Martha, their friendship growing with each passing day. They shared quiet conversations, their bond deepening through shared experiences. Chayton admired Martha's strength and resilience, qualities that had helped her adapt to life in the camp. Martha, in turn, valued Chayton's calm presence and the security he provided. Abigail and Noden's friendship also continued to flourish. Noden respected Abigail's intelligence and her dedication to her family. They spent time together, exchanging ideas and learning from one another. Abigail appreciated Noden's kindness and the way he supported her son's growth and development. The children, ever adaptable, embraced the change of seasons with enthusiasm. They ran and played, their laughter echoing through the camp. The older ones helped with the planting, their small hands eager to contribute. Abigail's son, under Noden's guidance, had become skilled at tracking and hunting. His confidence grew with each new skill he mastered. As the days grew longer, the camp prepared for a celebration to welcome spring. It was a time to honor the earth's renewal and the community's resilience. The Lakota people gathered to sing and dance, their spirits lifted by the promise of new beginnings. Martha, Abigail, and Clara joined in the festivities, their hearts full of gratitude for the life they had found among the Lakota. The celebration was a testament to the strength of unity, of bonds forged through shared experiences and mutual respect. During the celebration, Martha stood beside Chayton, their connection palpable. She felt a sense of belonging, a feeling she hadn't experienced in a long time. Chayton's presence was comforting, a reminder that she was no longer alone. Abigail watched as her children played with the other young ones, their joy infectious. She felt a deep sense of peace, knowing that they were safe and supported. Noden stood nearby, his eyes meeting hers with a warmth that spoke volumes. Clara, with her baby in her arms, felt a profound sense of contentment. The camp had become her home, a place where she was valued and loved. Her child, surrounded by the community's care, was a symbol of hope and new beginnings. As the celebration continued into the night, the women reflected on their journey. They had come a long way from the days of fear and uncertainty. They had found strength in each other and in the community that had embraced them. The future was still uncertain, but they faced it with confidence and hope. Together, with their new family, they would continue to build a life filled with love, purpose, and joy. The bonds they had formed were strong, rooted in respect and shared experiences. The journey was far from over, but they were ready for whatever came next, united by the ties that bound them. As spring fully arrived, the Lakota camp thrived with activity. The snow had melted, replaced by vibrant greenery and the promise of new life. The air was filled with the sounds of nature awakening, a melody that lifted the spirits of everyone in the camp. The harsh winter was behind them and the future looked hopeful. Martha, Abigail, and Clara had become integral members of the community. Their roles were clear, their contributions valued. Each day brought new tasks and challenges, but the women faced them with determination and the support of their friends and family. Martha's friendship with Chayton had deepened over the weeks. They spent time together working side by side in the fields and sharing quiet moments by the river. Chayton's calm presence was a source of comfort for Martha, his steady companionship a balm to her soul. She found herself looking forward to their time together, their conversations a blend of shared stories and laughter. One afternoon, as they sat by the river, Chayton taught Martha how to make a simple fishing net. His hands moved deftly, demonstrating the technique with patience and care. Martha watched, her fingers mimicking his movements. It was a skill she had never learned, but she was eager to try. Their hands brushed as they worked, a small gesture that spoke of the closeness they had developed. Martha felt a warmth in her heart, a feeling that was both new and familiar. She cherished their friendship, the bond that had grown from mutual respect and understanding. Abigail, meanwhile, continued to flourish in her role as a healer. She had become a bridge between the Lakota and her own people, sharing knowledge and learning in return. Her skills were in demand, and she felt a deep sense of purpose in her work. Her friendship with Noden had also deepened. They spent time together, often discussing the challenges faced by the community. Noden respected Abigail's insights and valued her opinions. Abigail, in turn, appreciated Noden's wisdom and his dedication to the well-being of the camp. On a warm spring evening, Noden invited Abigail to join him for a walk. They strolled through the camp, the setting sun casting a golden glow over the landscape. Abigail felt at ease in Noden's company, her worries fading away as they talked. Their conversation turned to the future, the hopes and dreams they held for their families and the community. Noden spoke of his desire to see the camp thrive, to ensure that the children had a safe and nurturing environment. Abigail shared her own hopes, her wish to see her children grow strong and confident. As they walked, Noden reached for Abigail's hand, a gentle gesture that conveyed more than words ever could. Abigail's heart skipped a beat, a mixture of surprise and warmth flooding through her. She realized that her feelings for Noden had grown beyond friendship, a realization that filled her with both joy and uncertainty. Clara, with her gentle nature, continued to build strong connections with the Lakota women. They had become her friends and confidants, their support a constant presence in her life. Clara's baby was thriving, the child's laughter a source of joy for everyone in the camp. One day, as Clara sat weaving with the other women, she felt a sense of peace settle over her. She watched her baby play nearby, the child's innocence a reminder of the beauty in the world. Clara knew that she had found a home among the Lakota, a place where she was valued and loved. The bonds she had formed were strong, rooted in shared experiences and mutual respect. Clara felt a deep gratitude for the life she had found, the community that had embraced her and her child. As spring turned to summer, the camp prepared for a gathering with neighboring tribes. It was a time to strengthen alliances, to celebrate the unity and resilience of their people. The preparations were extensive, each person contributing to the success of the event. Martha, Abigail, and Clara threw themselves into the preparations, eager to help. They worked alongside their friends, their efforts a testament to their commitment to the community. The gathering was an opportunity to showcase their skills, to demonstrate their integration into the Lakota way of life. The day of the gathering arrived and the camp was filled with excitement. People from neighboring tribes arrived, their presence a reminder of the strength found in unity. The air was alive with music and laughter, a celebration of life and community. Martha stood with Chayton, their eyes taking in the scene around them. She felt a sense of pride in what they had achieved, the bonds they had formed. Chayton's hand found hers, a silent promise of support and friendship. Abigail and Noden moved through the crowd, their presence a symbol of the cooperation between the tribes. They spoke with visitors, sharing stories and laughter. Abigail felt a sense of belonging, a feeling that she had found her place in the world. Clara, with her baby in her arms, watched the festivities with a smile. The child was a symbol of hope and new beginnings, a reminder of the future they were building together. As the sun set and the festivities continued, the women reflected on their journey. They had faced hardships and challenges, but they had emerged stronger and more united. The bonds they had formed were unbreakable, rooted in trust and shared experiences. The future was still uncertain, but they faced it with confidence and hope. Together, with their new family, they would continue to build a life filled with love, purpose, and joy. The journey was far from over, but they were ready for whatever came next, united by the ties that bound them. As the summer days grew longer, the Lakota camp continued to thrive. The air was warm and the land was lush with growth. The community worked together, tending to crops and preparing for the seasons ahead. Life was busy, but there was a sense of peace and accomplishment in the air. Martha, Abigail, and Clara had become integral parts of the camp. They had found their places, their contributions valued and appreciated. Each woman had built strong bonds within the community, friendships that provided support and joy. However, not all was calm within the camp. Tensions began to rise when rumors of a neighboring tribe's hostility reached the Lakota. The threat of conflict loomed, casting a shadow over the otherwise peaceful days. The warriors stayed vigilant, prepared to defend their home if necessary. The women felt the tension, aware of the potential danger. Martha, with her natural leadership skills, stepped forward to offer her support. She joined the discussions with Wakasa and the other leaders, her calm presence a source of reassurance. Abigail, too, understood the seriousness of the situation. She worked alongside the healers, preparing for any injuries that might occur if conflict arose. Her knowledge of herbal medicine was crucial, and she felt a deep sense of responsibility to protect those she cared about. Clara, while concerned, focused her energy on maintaining a sense of normalcy for the children. She understood the importance of keeping their spirits high, even in uncertain times. Her gentle nature provided comfort to those around her, a reminder of the strength found in kindness and love. As tensions simmered, an unexpected illness swept through the camp. It started with a few people feeling unwell, but soon more and more fell ill. The symptoms were troubling, and the healers worked tirelessly to care for the sick. Abigail took charge, her skills in high demand. She organized the healers using her knowledge to identify the herbs needed to combat the illness. It was a race against time, and Abigail felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. Martha and Clara supported Abigail, helping to gather herbs and tend to the sick. They moved through the camp, their presence a source of comfort and strength. The community pulled together, each person doing their part to care for their friends and family. As the illness spread, fear and uncertainty grew. The threat of conflict with the neighboring tribes seemed distant compared to the immediate danger of the sickness. The camp was on high alert, each day a struggle to contain the illness and keep hope alive. Abigail worked tirelessly, her determination unwavering. She collaborated with the Lakota healers, combining their knowledge to find the best treatments. Her efforts began to show results, and slowly the number of sick began to decrease. Her dedication did not go unnoticed. The community saw her tireless work, her commitment to their well-being. Respect for her grew, and even those who had been skeptical of the newcomers began to see them in a new light. Martha continued to support Abigail, her leadership skills crucial in organizing the care efforts. She coordinated the distribution of food and supplies, ensuring that everyone had what they needed. Her presence was calming, her confidence a beacon of hope. Clara, with her gentle touch, provided care and comfort to the sick. Her baby, a symbol of hope and new life, was often by her side, bringing smiles to those who were unwell. Clara's kindness and patience were invaluable, her presence a reminder of the power of compassion. As the illness slowly ebbed, the camp breathed a sigh of relief. The threat had been real, but the community had faced it together, their unity and resilience shining through. The bonds between the women and the Lakota had only strengthened, forged in the fire of adversity. With the immediate crisis over, attention turned back to the potential threat from the neighboring tribe. The camp remained vigilant, prepared to defend their home if necessary. The women, having proven their worth, stood ready to support the community in whatever way they could. Wakasa called a meeting, gathering the leaders and warriors to discuss their next steps. Martha, Abigail, and Clara were included, their opinions valued and respected. It was a testament to the trust they had earned, the relationships they had built. The discussions were serious, focused on strategies to ensure the camp's safety. The women listened and contributed, their insights and perspectives appreciated. It was clear that the community valued their voices, their experiences adding depth to the conversation. As the meeting concluded, Wakasa spoke of unity and strength. He reminded everyone of the importance of standing together, of supporting one another through whatever challenges came their way. His words resonated with the community, a rallying call to face the future with courage and hope. The women returned to their tasks, their spirits lifted by the knowledge that they were part of something greater than themselves. They had found a family among the Lakota, a place where they were valued and loved. The bonds they had formed were strong, rooted in respect and shared experiences. Together, they faced the future with confidence and hope, ready to embrace whatever came next. The journey was far from over, but they were ready for whatever challenges lay ahead, united by the ties that bound them. As the summer days rolled on, the Lakota camp slowly returned to its usual rhythm. The illness that had swept through had left its mark, but the community had emerged stronger, their bonds reinforced by the adversity they had faced together. However, the threat from the neighboring tribes still loomed, casting a shadow over the camp. Martha, Abigail, and Clara had proven themselves as valuable members of the community. Their skills and determination had earned them respect and trust, and they continued to play important roles in the camp's daily life. Abigail's knowledge of herbal medicine had been crucial during the illness, and she continued to work with the healers, ensuring the health of the community. Her efforts had saved many lives, and her reputation as a healer was now well established. Martha, with her natural leadership skills, continued to support the camp's efforts to prepare for any potential conflict. She worked closely with Wakasa and the other leaders, helping to organize defenses and ensure the camp was ready for any eventuality. Her calm demeanor and strategic mind were assets that the community relied on. Clara, with her gentle nature, focused on maintaining a sense of normalcy for the children. She understood the importance of stability and routine, especially during uncertain times. Her baby was growing quickly, a symbol of hope and new beginnings for the entire camp. Despite the tension, life went on. The camp continued to thrive, the fields yielding crops that promised a bountiful harvest. The community worked together, each person contributing to the shared goal of prosperity and peace. One afternoon, as the women worked in the fields, news arrived that sent ripples of concern through the camp. Scouts had spotted a group from the neighboring tribe approaching. It was unclear what their intentions were, but the possibility of conflict seemed imminent. The camp sprang into action, preparing for whatever might come. The warriors gathered, ready to defend their home if necessary. The women and children were moved to a safer area, protected by the natural barriers of the landscape. Martha, Abigail, and Clara stood with the community, their resolve unwavering. They knew that the coming hours could test their strength and unity, but they were ready to face whatever challenges arose. As the sun began to set, the tension in the camp was palpable. The warriors stood ready, their eyes fixed on the horizon. The rest of the community waited, their hearts filled with a mix of fear and determination. Finally, the group from the neighboring tribe appeared, their approach slow and deliberate. The Lakota warriors watched closely, ready to respond if necessary. Wakasa stepped forward, his presence calm and commanding. The leader of the approaching group halted a short distance from the camp, signaling for his men to stop. There was a moment of silence, a pause that seemed to stretch on forever. Wakasa spoke, his voice carrying across the distance. Though the words were not in a language the women understood, the tone was one of authority and peace. He extended a hand, a gesture that spoke of a desire for dialogue rather than conflict. The leader of the neighboring tribe responded, his voice measured and respectful. He stepped forward, meeting Wakasa halfway. The two men spoke, their conversation a quiet exchange that held the future of the two communities in its balance. The tension in the camp eased slightly, the hope for a peaceful resolution growing. The women watched, their hearts in their throats, as the two leaders continued their discussion. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Wakasa and the other leader reached an understanding. They nodded to each other, a silent agreement that signaled the easing of tensions. The relief in the camp was palpable, a collective sigh of relief filling the air. The threat of conflict had been averted, at least for now. The leaders of the two tribes had chosen peace, a decision that spoke of wisdom and foresight. As the group from the neighboring tribe departed, the camp slowly returned to its normal rhythm. The women and children emerged from their safe haven, their spirits lifted by the resolution of the situation. Martha, Abigail, and Clara felt a deep sense of relief, their hearts filled with gratitude for the peace that had been maintained. They knew that the threat of conflict could return, but for now they were thankful for the reprieve. In the days that followed, the community celebrated the peace that had been achieved. There was a renewed sense of unity and purpose, a reminder of the strength found in standing together. Martha continued to work closely with Wakasa and the other leaders, her insights and strategic mind valued and respected. She had proven herself as a leader, her presence a source of comfort and strength for the community. Abigail returned to her work with the healers, her skills in high demand as the camp focused on maintaining the health and well-being of its members. Her efforts were appreciated, her dedication unwavering. Clara, with her gentle touch, continued to care for the children, her presence a source of stability and love. Her baby, now a little older, was a constant reminder of the hope and new beginnings that the future held. As summer turned to autumn, the camp prepared for the change of seasons. The harvest was bountiful, a testament to the hard work and dedication of the community. The women, alongside their Lakota friends, gathered the crops, their efforts a celebration of life and prosperity. The bonds between the women and the Lakota had grown stronger, rooted in shared experiences and mutual respect. Together, they faced the future with confidence and hope, ready to embrace whatever challenges lay ahead. The journey was far from over, but they were ready for whatever came next, united by the ties that bound them. The strength of the community, the friendships they had formed, and the love that surrounded them provided a solid foundation for the future. As autumn painted the landscape with hues of gold and red, the Lakota camp prepared to celebrate. The harvest had been plentiful, a reward for their hard work and unity. The community gathered to honor their achievements and to give thanks for the peace they had maintained. Martha, Abigail, and Clara were deeply involved in the preparations. The celebration was a time to reflect on the journey they had taken, to acknowledge the bonds formed and the challenges overcome. The women had found a home among the Lakota, their roles in the community valued and respected. The day of the celebration dawned bright and clear. The camp buzzed with activity as everyone worked together to prepare. Fires were lit and the smell of cooking food filled the air. The sound of laughter and music echoed through the camp, a testament to the joy and camaraderie that united them. Martha stood with Chayton, their partnership a symbol of the connections forged through shared experiences. They had grown close over the months, their friendship deepening into something more. Martha found comfort in Chayton's presence, his steady support a source of strength. As the celebration began, Wakasa addressed the community. His words were filled with gratitude and wisdom, a reminder of the importance of unity and resilience. He spoke of the challenges they had faced and the strength they had found in each other. The women listened, their hearts full of pride for the role they had played in the camp's success. They had come a long way from the days of uncertainty and fear, their journey marked by growth and transformation. Abigail stood with Noden, their friendship a testament to the power of mutual respect and understanding. They had supported each other through difficult times, their bond growing stronger with each shared experience. Abigail valued Noden's wisdom and kindness, his presence in her life a source of joy. Clara, with her baby in her arms, watched the festivities with a smile. Her child was a symbol of hope and new beginnings, a reminder of the future they were building together. Clara felt a deep sense of gratitude for the community that had embraced her and her child, their support a constant source of comfort. As the celebration continued, the community came together to share a meal. The food was abundant, a reflection of the harvest and the hard work that had gone into ensuring its success. The women and men sat together, their laughter and conversation a testament to the bonds they had formed. Martha, Abigail, and Clara shared stories of their journey, their tales filled with humor and warmth. The children listened with wide eyes, their imaginations sparked by the adventures and challenges their mothers had faced. As the sun set, the music and dancing began. The community moved together, their steps guided by the rhythm of the drums. It was a celebration of life and unity, a reminder of the strength found in standing together. Martha danced with Chayton, their movements a reflection of the ease and comfort they had found in each other's company. She felt a sense of belonging, a feeling that she had found her place in the world. Abigail and Noden joined the dance, their steps light and joyful. Abigail felt at peace, her heart full of gratitude for the friendships and connections she had made. Noden's presence was reassuring, a reminder of the strength they found in each other. Clara, with her baby, watched the dancers, her heart full of love for the community that had become her family. The child giggled and clapped, the joy of the celebration infectious. As the night wore on, the community gathered around the fire. Wakasa spoke again, his words a reminder of the journey they had taken and the future they were building together. He acknowledged the contributions of everyone in the camp, their efforts a testament to the power of unity and resilience. He turned to Martha, Abigail, and Clara, his eyes filled with respect and gratitude. He spoke of the strength they had shown, the challenges they had overcome. The community echoed his sentiments, their appreciation for the women clear and heartfelt. Martha felt a deep sense of pride, her journey marked by growth and transformation. She had found her place among the Lakota, her contributions valued and respected. The bonds she had formed were strong, rooted in shared experiences and mutual respect. Abigail, too, felt a sense of fulfillment. Her skills as a healer had been crucial to the community's well-being, her knowledge and dedication saving many lives. She had found a family among the Lakota, a place where she was valued and loved. Clara, with her gentle nature, had built strong connections with the women of the camp. Her kindness and patience had endeared her to the community, her presence a source of stability and love. Her child, a symbol of hope and new beginnings, was cherished by all. As the fire burned bright against the night sky, the women reflected on their journey. They had come a long way from the days of fear and uncertainty. They had found strength in each other and in the community that had embraced them. The future was still uncertain, but they faced it with confidence and hope. Together, with their new family, they would continue to build a life filled with love, purpose, and joy. The bonds they had formed were strong, rooted in respect and shared experiences. The journey was far from over, but they were ready for whatever came next, united by the ties that bound them. As autumn slowly gave way to winter, the Lakota camp prepared for the colder months ahead. The air was crisp, and the first hints of frost began to appear in the mornings. The community worked together to ensure they were ready, gathering supplies and reinforcing their shelters. The lessons learned from the previous winter guided their preparations, and there was a sense of confidence in their readiness. Martha, Abigail, and Clara had settled into their lives with a sense of belonging and purpose. Their roles in the camp were well established, and they moved through each day with the ease and confidence of those who knew they were valued. Martha's relationship with Chayton had blossomed into a partnership that brought joy and stability to them both. They worked together seamlessly, their bond strengthened by the challenges they had faced together. Martha appreciated Chayton's quiet strength and support, qualities that had become a cornerstone of their relationship. Abigail and Noden's friendship had also grown into something deeper. They spent time together, sharing their hopes and dreams for the future. Noden respected Abigail's intelligence and admired her dedication to her family and the community. Abigail, in turn, valued Noden's wisdom and kindness, his presence a source of comfort and joy. Clara found happiness in the simple moments of daily life. Her baby had grown into an active toddler, full of energy and curiosity. The child was a constant source of delight for the community, their laughter and antics bringing smiles to everyone's faces. Clara's gentle nature and kindness had made her many friends among the Lakota women, and she felt a deep sense of gratitude for the support and companionship they provided. As winter approached, the women reflected on how far they had come. They had arrived in the camp as strangers, uncertain and fearful, but through hard work and resilience, they had found a home and a family among the Lakota. The journey had been challenging, but it had also been transformative, shaping them into stronger women. One evening, as the camp gathered around the fire, Wakasa spoke to the community. His words were filled with gratitude and hope, a reminder of the strength found in unity and resilience. He spoke of the challenges they had faced and the bonds that had grown stronger through adversity. Wakasa acknowledged the contributions of Martha, Abigail, and Clara, their presence in the camp a testament to the power of friendship and cooperation. The community echoed his sentiments, their appreciation for the women clear and heartfelt. Martha felt a deep sense of pride and satisfaction. She had found her place among the Lakota, her leadership and strength recognized and respected. The bonds she had formed were strong, rooted in shared experiences and mutual respect. Abigail, too, felt a sense of fulfillment. Her skills as a healer had been crucial to the community's well-being, her knowledge and dedication saving many lives. She had found a family among the Lakota, a place where she was valued and loved. Clara, with her gentle nature, had built strong connections with the women of the camp. Her kindness and patience had endeared her to the community, her presence a source of stability and love. Her child, a symbol of hope and new beginnings, was cherished by all. As the fire burned bright against the night sky, the women reflected on their journey. They had come a long way from the days of fear and uncertainty. They had found strength in each other and in the community that had embraced them. The future was still uncertain, but they faced it with confidence and hope. Together, with their new family, they would continue to build a life filled with love, purpose, and joy. The bonds they had formed were strong, rooted in respect and shared experiences. The journey was far from over, but they were ready for whatever came next, united by the ties that bound them. As the first snowflakes of winter began to fall, the women stood with their friends and family, their hearts full of gratitude and hope. They had found a home among the Lakota, a place where they were valued and loved. Together, they would face the future, ready to embrace whatever challenges lay ahead. If you loved the story, like the video and subscribe.